Imagine standing at the altar in a black wedding dress. Not white, not ivory, black. Because when you're forced to marry the man who swore to destroy your family, white feels like a lie you're not willing to tell. But here's the question I need you to sit with before we dive in. How far would you go to protect the people you love? Would you take a bullet for them? Would you confess to a crime you didn't commit? Would you look the man who ruined your life in the eyes and say, "I do"? Mercan Yildirim did all three, and somehow that's not even the most insane part of this episode. Welcome back. Let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, buckle up because you chose quite the episode to stumble onto. Today we are diving deep into Arafta episode 2, and I'm just going to say it right now. The writers woke up and chose violence. Emotional violence, psychological warfare, and one actual gunshot. No more games, just pure, gorgeous, chaotic betrayal. Let's go. We open in the aftermath of episode 1's power move. Ateş Karahan hasn't just walked into the Yildirim family's home, he's colonized it. The transfer paperwork is already on the table. His team is already giving orders. His presence fills every room like smoke, suffocating and impossible to ignore. And the contract? Still ticking. 187 days. That's how long Mercan will be his wife. That's the deal. A forced marriage, a corporate takeover dressed in wedding clothes, and a countdown that feels less like a deadline and more like a death sentence. But here's what's interesting about Ateş in these early scenes. Watch his eyes. Because while his mouth is giving cold, calculated orders, his eyes keep finding Mercan. Not looking for weakness, not surveilling an enemy, finding her. The way you find something you didn't know you were looking for. He doesn't know it yet, but we do. Meanwhile, in the shadows, Nezir, the man Mercan was originally promised to, hasn't gone quietly. He's hovering at the edges of this story like a bad smell, pulling strings with Murat, whispering into Haydar's ear. And Nezir's solution to the Ateş problem is, let's say, dramatically direct. He tells Murat, "There's no other way, you have to kill him." And Murat, scared, cornered, and deeply out of his depth, actually listens. Here's where the episode shifts from tense to explosive. Murat confronts Ateş, the conversation escalates, and in one terrible, panic-drenched moment, Murat pulls the trigger. The shot lands, Ateş goes down. And in that single second, everything we thought we knew about the power dynamic of this show gets completely rewritten. Because Mercan's reaction is not what anyone expected. She doesn't run, she doesn't freeze. She rushes to Ateş, the man she hates, the man who invaded her home, the man with 187 days of revenge planned out, and she tries to help him. There's something in that moment that the camera lingers on. This instinct in her that is bigger than strategy, bigger than hatred. She's not helping him because she loves him. She's helping him because she's Mercan, because that's who she is underneath all the pressure and the pain. But then, she makes a choice that will haunt the next several episodes. Murat flees. Mercan looks at her injured, barely conscious enemy, and she decides, "I will take the blame." She tells everyone she was the one who pulled the trigger. Let that land for a second. She risked prison to protect a brother who, quite frankly, panicked and left her standing alone next to the man he just shot. The sacrificial love here is almost unbearable to watch, because you know and she knows that this confession could cost her everything. Ateş is rushed to hospital, he's losing blood, he's fighting to stay conscious, and his family and allies are circling the waiting room like wolves. Muzayan is devastated, Aslı is performing concern with just a little too much enthusiasm, and Cemal is trying to hold everyone together. But here's the moment that stopped me cold. In his delirium, somewhere between consciousness and darkness, Ateş murmurs a name. Eylül. That's it. Just one name. Whispered like a prayer or a wound, and the people around him catch it, exchange glances, and quickly move on, as if they've heard it before. As if it's a door no one is allowed to open. Who is Eylül? The show doesn't tell us. Not yet. But everything about the way that name leaves his lips suggests this is the real reason Ateş is here. the corporate takeover, the forced marriage, the 187-day revenge plan, it's not just about money or power, it's about her. Haydar Yildirim took something from Ateş that no business deal can replace, and that something has a name. File that away. Because Eylül is the ghost in this entire story. While Ateş is recovering, Haydar makes his move. He strikes a deal with Nezir, and yes, the same Nezir who just told Murat to commit murder, to smuggle Mercan out of the country. A boat, Greek islands, Italy. The whole thing is arranged in the kind of hushed, frantic secrecy that only works in movies. Haydar hands Mercan something before she goes. A gun. She doesn't know how to use it. She almost doesn't take it. But she does. And honestly, that detail says everything about how desperate this family has become. The plan is set. The captain is waiting. The boat is ready. But Ateş, wounded, barely recovered, operating on pure, stubborn fury, is already ahead of them. Because this is who Ateş Karahan is. He doesn't react. He anticipates. His people have been watching Nezir. They know about the Marina. They know about the boat. He gets there, bleeding, in pain, and absolutely immovable. And when Mercan sees him standing at that dock, this man she shot, this man who should be in a hospital bed, her face does something complicated. Because she realizes, maybe for the first time, that she is not dealing with an ordinary opponent. You cannot outrun someone who is already waiting for you at the finish line. The escape has failed, the confession has been made, the police have come and gone, because Ateş, in what might be the most psychologically calculated move in the episode, refused to name his attacker. He looked the detective in the eye and said, "I didn't see who did it, my back was turned." He protected Mercan, not out of mercy, out of ownership. He doesn't want her in prison. He wants her exactly where she is, in his house, under his roof, within reach of his revenge. But there's something else in that choice, isn't there? Something that doesn't fit neatly into the revenge narrative. Because a man who purely wants destruction doesn't protect the person who shot him. He doesn't examine that impulse, not yet. Instead, he does something even more devastating. He moves the wedding up. No more delays, no more negotiating. Tomorrow they are getting married, and so we arrive at the image that opens this entire video. Mercan standing in a black wedding dress, in a ceremony that feels less like a celebration and more like a funeral. The symbolism is so heavy you can barely breathe. She is mourning herself, mourning the life she was supposed to have, the choices that were taken from her, the girl who existed before all of this. Ateş stands beside her, still in pain from his wound, dressed in darkness to match. They face each other. The officiant asks the question, and before Mercan says yes, she looks at Ateş and makes her own declaration. "I'll find a way to destroy you before those 187 days are up." He almost smiles. "I'll be waiting. I do. I do." And just like that, the war has a new battlefield, and it's called marriage. Let's zoom out for a second because this episode is doing something really smart beneath all the drama. Every power move Ateş makes is shaped by loss. He's not cruel for the sake of cruelty. He's a man who had something taken from him, something that broke him in a way business success could never fix. Eylül is that wound, and Haydar Yildirim is the man he holds responsible. But what the show is starting to hint at, gently through stolen glances and involuntary reactions, is that Mercan is becoming a complication he didn't budget for. He watched her take a bullet charge for her brother. He watched her rush to his side when she could have run. He watched her stand at that altar in a black dress and refuse to break. He came here expecting Haydar's daughter. He found something else entirely. Meanwhile, Aslı is playing her own game in the background, always positioned just close enough to be useful, always watching for the crack she can widen. Don't sleep on her. She is patient in the way that truly dangerous people are patient. And Nezir, he is not done. A man that willing to suggest murder as a first resort doesn't just accept defeat and go home. The board is set. Every player has their motive. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, two people said, "I do," for completely wrong reasons, and the universe is already deciding what to do with that.
So here's where we land at the end of episode 2. Ateş and Mercan are married. The 187-day clock is running. Murat is free but guilty. Mercan is innocent but confessed. Nezir is dangerous and desperate. And Eylül, whoever she was, whatever happened to her, is the shadow behind every single scene. The marriage of convenience is a ticking bomb. But the question this episode keeps asking is, what if the bomb has feelings? What if the woman Ateş intends to break? Is the only one who could ever put them back together? I want to know what you think. Drop your theories in the comments right now. Who is Eylül? And what did Hyder do to her? Asterisk, asterisk. Is she someone Ateş lost? Someone Hyder took? And does Mercan somehow hold the key to that answer without even knowing it? Let me know. And if this recap hit different for you, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because episode 3 is coming, and based on how episode 2 ended, we are absolutely not ready. See you in the next one.